Hi, friends. My name is Erin, and this is Daily Elevations. Um, so, I thought we'd continue with kind of preventative measures around breakdown, but really a deeper understanding about emotions themselves. I think a lot of us, since we can often control our emotions through the thoughts we have, think that our emotions live in our head or in our field, but emotions really are sensations that live in our body. You can't have an emotion without having some physical shift or change within. And emotions can be triggered by our thoughts and directed by our thoughts and totally influenced by our thoughts, but they're also their own energy. I know a lot of people who kind of get into that positivity mode and just live up kind of like, I'm not going down here. I'm just thinking positive, thinking positive, thinking positive. That sometimes can develop this really intense shadow self who you're just not seeing. And that has to go somewhere in your body. And oftentimes these things show up as disease over time. And if you have disease, that does not mean it's time to blame yourself. Sometimes diseases just come, or illnesses, or injuries, all of that stuff. There are many different angles to look at things. But it's just one that emotional buildup definitely causes stress on our physical form, and stress over time does lead to trouble in the actual physical functioning. It's very logical. So how we can kind of release and confront some of these things that we might be pushing down. And sometimes we push it down because we want to be positive. Sometimes we push it down because we have an actual, I need to do my job. I need to make money. I need to take care of this stuff over here. And that's all very true too. But what happens when we don't visit our home for a long time, if we've abandoned our home, our physical body home, and left it to take care of these other pursuits, is that when we arrive again, it can be kind of like, ugh, like this feels terrible in here. And that it feels terrible in here causes us, as soon as we land back in our bodies in the present moment, to shoot off into the past or future again in our brain so that we don't have to feel that. It would be similar to if we were to leave our house for years. You wouldn't expect to come back to the same house that was there when you took off. You would know that there's going to be a mess. There's going to be some cleanup I have to do. There's going to be cobwebs and maybe infestations of certain things and, maybe holes that need to be repaired or leaks. This is how our body also operates. So as we come back and land in, I promise, even though it feels icky, then you can still stay with it just a little bit of time to move that kind of surface dirt and grum out of the way, because ultimately the essence that's constantly looking to shine through your physical body and physical sensations and all the wisdom that's within that is so much more powerful than this kind of covering of crud that might be there as you check in with your body self for the first time. And it's not uncommon to feel like I just have these tears coming as soon as I still my body and still my breath, and I don't even know what they're from, and that's okay. But I want to talk a little bit. One of the first videos that I did was about the brain versus the heart. And I want to talk about those two different energies because the brain does hold our thoughts. It's really our whole energy system, though, that holds our beliefs. And it's really our heart that is the most infinite, that can kind of radiate. Our heart is like a sun shining and beaconing, and it can give and receive whatever information it needs and wants. And it has this incredible capacity to expand or contract as needed in the situation. And when we actually get in touch with that heart space, we can bring all of that crud into it so that it's being held in this vast land that is very transformational, rather than needing to be held with our brain, which is very like judgy and let me cut things off in this way or that way. So when we can actually find that vastness within us and bring our stuff to our heart, feel that rage in our heart, feel that grief in our heart, feel that I don't know what other things, that deep, sense of failure or whatever else we're like carrying. It's in the heart that we can just breathe and actually transmute those emotions to kind of other levels of energy for ourselves. So I just wanted to offer that also as a technique, as a remembrance of how important it is to be present and to actually make space for your emotions to be acknowledged. And the only place we can really, really make that space for our emotions to be acknowledged is in our hearts. And that it's most true that once an emotion is acknowledged, it either starts its path of flowing out, and it's in that flowing out that more times than not, I have all of these realizations about what's going on, about what happened, about why things got stuck, about what's needed to move on. But as long as those things are suppressed, I don't get those revelations. And then when it moves through, even if it takes a few minutes, it's then clear and you have that space and that freedom in your physical form to do more, to be more mobile, to be more connected in the ways that you want to be. And most importantly, in this energy drained society where we're a million energy drinks, energy bars, and run off of coffee, when we let go of the resistance and the energy it takes to hold these emotions down, we get so much more energy in our lives to do what we really want to do with them. So that's a little bit about somatic kind of understanding and holding of emotions. And sometimes the best way to connect in this way isn't even to say, oh, that's anger and that's sadness, but to connect with like, I feel hot clenching, or it feels like a little bubbly thing that keeps like running up and then coming back down and running up and coming back down, and actually getting into what am I feeling viscerally here, because it's in this form that emotions really live, and it's understanding the language of sensation around emotions that allows us to connect with them on that pure energy being or that pure energy level and let them just move through and run their course, because all emotions really is just energy that we usually trap and hide and reject and pretend isn't there. But if we can just bring it to the present, feel it, breathe into it, allow it to move, then we'll be so much more centered in our life and we'll have so much more energy in our life moving forward. So I hope that's helpful. I hope you guys are having a wonderful time taking really good care of yourself, and I'll look forward to checking in with you tomorrow.